Welcome to another episode of the Brown Couch Bruhz, your go-to Detroit sports podcast.
That's right. I'm your boy Jess, a.k.a. A-Game. We're here to bring the latest and the greatest from the D, the 313.
And it's your boy, The Loaf, ready to dive right into the heart of Detroit sports with two of my guys, the Honcho and the A-Game.
Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, PSL Sports, Michigan State, we got you covered.
We'll break down the games, analyze the stats, and give you the hot takes that you didn't know you needed.
Plus, we bring you some amazing guests, legends of the game, Detroit historians, here to share their insights and stories.
So grab a seat on the couch, kick back, and let's get into the action.
Here we go.
Welcome to another episode of the Brown Couch Bruhz.
Brown Couch Bruhz, man. Here we go. We at it again, another Sunday.
A beautiful Sunday, man. Brown Couch Bruhz. The weather is changing. Spring will be here soon. I can't wait.
Snow is melting a little bit, isn't it?
It's melting a little bit. You throw some salt out there.
We got another guest on today, another friend of the program, a returning guest today, Damon Webb II. But we'll get to our guests in just a minute. But before we do, in customary fashion, let's tip it off.
Boom, 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 boom. I reach y'all from afar.
I feel like you're too far away.
Well, that's what I said. I reach you from afar.
Well, let's get into it. This week in sports, it started off. This week in sports, y'all know what happened, right?
No, what happened? Fill us in.
1985, our favorite coach, Bobby Knight, throws a chair against Purdue. At home, got a tech and got thrown out the game.
Did Indiana win that game?
He was big mad. I don't know if they won it or not. He was big mad. That's where big mad came from in 85.
Right.
And it's been a minute since we've seen that. I mean, again, Bobby Knight, throws a chair in a game, chokes a kid on camera. Those days is long gone. Like the kids say, that didn't age well.
That didn't age well. You do that today, you're going to get paid. There's a lawsuit is coming.
There's a lawsuit coming, for real.
You messed up my vocals, coach.
But that's this week in sports. We haven't done that segment in a while, so it's good to kind of recap and revisit that. Always good to shed some light on what's happened in the past, let you know what your future is going to be. So speaking of future, you got the second coming today, so go ahead and introduce our guest.
We doing the tip-off, or we doing everything combined, huh?
Oh, let's introduce our guest, then we'll go tip off.
All right, well... friend of the family, like he said, friend of the program. I got 3 kids. I want to recognize my other 2. Jasmine Webb is my oldest. My youngest is Michael Webb. All adults, all responsible family people. Here, I got my middle son, as you know, Damon Webb II, West Side Steeler, Sound Mind, Sound Body, Detroit Cass Tech, The Ohio State University National Champs, Tennessee Titans, Ottawa Redbacks, I'm sorry. And we'll get into who he just signed with doing the program, but got Damon Webb II here, my middle son.
It was good. Appreciate y'all having me back.
All right, man. Well, we got good reviews last time, so you gotta double it up on this one.
Let's get it.
So let's tip it off. Jess, what you got for your tip off?
Well, look, my tip off is a little bit off the grid on the sports thing. I want to shout out to a young man that came up to me. I was representing the Brown Couch. I had on my purple, and he saw me. He said, "Excuse me, sir, are you the man that was on the program with Coach Blankenship?" And it warmed my heart, man. Noah Fisher, man, keep watching the program. Respectable young man. Got a great family, mother, father. They teaching him well, but for him to absorb the information that he saw with Coach Blank, that it felt good. So I say that to say, subscribe to us. Programs like this are needed. We're being watched, and as far as black men, we're being watched by younger people. So it's good for them to see us doing things that are very positive. The impact that Coach Blank had on him, for him to see it and absorb that and see that. So shout out to Coach Blank again. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll see you soon again. And Noah Fisher, keep doing well in school. You want our future leaders. Whether you want to be or not, you're going to be one of the young men we're going to depend on as life goes on. So keep on doing what you're doing, man. And keep school. I heard you're a great student in school too. So keep doing that, Noah Fisher. And thank you for watching the program.
Fantastic. Well, what you got for your tip?
I'm going off the grid a little bit today too, man. When we talk about Detroit legends, we normally talk about sports and guys who came up through the city. Today I want to talk about the great Al Allen.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys don't know who Al Allen is, Al Allen, longtime Fox 2 camera TV personality on the news, cold winter days, man. Al Allen out there giving you the weather, telling you what roads to drive on, what not to drive on. His son, Andrew Long, is one of our frat brothers. Yep. Today is Al Allen's funeral. I want to give a shout out to brother Al Allen. Thank you for your time here in the city of Detroit, your service, man. Just waking up every morning when I was a kid just to hear your voice and say, hey, look, the road's here, the road's there. You know, keeping us abreast of what's going on in the city of Detroit. Rest in peace, brother Al Allen.
Rest in peace.
Salute.
Al Allen was the reason he told me what to wear and what not to wear. every morning.
Right.
If he had a coat on, time to bundle up.
Right.
Dress a little more comfortable. Okay, I can relax today.
Yes, sir.
But definitely shout out to our brother, Andrew Long. Rest in peace, Al Allen, the great Al Allen. I wanted to tip off on Renaissance, that other school on Outer Drive. Clean sweep in basketball.
The other school on
Outer Drive. Clean sweep for them last weekend in boys and girls basketball. They both win the PSL championship. So shout out to them, coaching staff, those players on those teams. I mean, it's a tough feat to be able to do that, win a PSL championship, but definitely a tough one to sweep the day and have both your girls and your boys programs be the best in the PSL. So shout out to them. Congratulations to them. And, everybody else, step your game up. Yeah. As I always say, step your game up. If you hate it, beat them.
Right.
Beat them. All right. So let's get to our game time today. Game time. So we got a little football to talk about today.
It's always football, man. That's why they say football is just king. Football is king, man.
It's king.
Well, you talking about NFL, CFL, USFL, whatever this other league is, women's flag football. Football is king, man.
Football is king. Football is king.
All year round.
We got young Damon Webb here with us. You alluded to it a little bit earlier about, your brand new deal with Calgary. So talk a little bit about the move from Ottawa and now in Calgary.
Yeah, so just testing free agency is my first time ever being like a big time free agent like in this league. So excited, you feel me? One of my our defensive coordinator, he's the DB coach at Calgary now. Okay. So I'm very familiar with him, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go out there. So, like, I just feel like in the CFL, I just keep leveling up. Like, at first I was in Saskatchewan, I was kind of like middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Then I went to Ottawa, kind of a bigger city. Now I'm in a real big city in Calgary. So, I'm just excited and just ready to go out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a feat, from you heading over there. I know it's a lot of tension, anxiety going over to a whole new country to play football. But what are you looking forward to in Calgary?
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking forward to like my new role because now like I'm like I'm the leader on the team. Like I'm one of the highest paid dudes on the team, and they're gonna be looking for me for leadership and be the voice in the locker room. So I'm just ready to just take on this new leadership role and like just try to lead this young secondary and try to see what we can do. Try to win the Grey Cup.
You had a great year. And it came at a great time, right before the contract. You can't be mad at that.
That's normally when you do it. Right.
That's how you
if
do
you're
it.
ever going to do it.
Right.
Do it when your deal is up.
When your deal is up, man. So definitely I want to congratulate you on all the accolades I've seen throughout the year. First team this, all pro that, man, you was killing it, man. So, congratulations to you.
I appreciate that.
So, for a lot of our listeners, I mean, you've been on the show before, but for a lot of our listeners, they may be new to Canadian football. Yeah. So talk about some of the differences between what you see in the NFL game and what you see in Canadian football, just in case our listeners want to tune in and watch you against, play for Calgary this year.
Yeah, it's all football at the end of the day, but CFL football kind of more of like a fast-paced game. Like, whereas in NFL, it's like every play is gonna be a play in the CFL. Like, there's no quarterback's not gonna throw the ball out of bounds. There's no fair catches. The kickoff line is pushed all the way back so they can make sure the ball don't go out the end zone. So it's just, I call it kind of like arcade football. It's like excitement.
Yeah.
Quarterback's gonna roll out, try to make any type of play. And it's just all football at the end of the day. It's nothing really too much different than this is. But we play 3 downs instead of 4 downs, so they punt on 3rd down. But other than that, it's still football at the end of the day.
Bigger field, bigger, longer, wider.
Yeah, bigger field, longer,
So you got to be in better shape, I would think.
like more passing.
You know, more passing. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is year 5 for you. Year 5 for you. So what are some of your personal goals that you may have? I mean, what do you want to accomplish? I know you mentioned, winning a Grey Cup. Any individual stuff you want to do?
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year.
All right.
That's just my main goal as like individually. I still feel like I'm kind of underrated. I kind of feel like my name should have been in like the conversations even last year just with me. Like as a DB, I was leading the league in TFLs, leading the league in defensive stops. And so that's just my goal, just make my name Defensive Player of the Year. I want to win that.
Nice. Well, we want to see you win it.
Yes, sir.
Definitely want to see you win it. Pops mentioned before you being Ohio State player, former player, alumni.
Yeah, don't forget that. You got the degree. Right.
And the first to win, you were on the team that won the first national championship in this new era.
In the new era, the playoff era. Yeah,
in the playoff era. And so talk a little bit about what it meant for you to see your alma mater win another national championship.
No, it felt great. Like, I just feel like we always the first one to win. Like, I can go back and put some money on it because we was the first one to win the 4 team. Now we the first one to win the 12 team. But no, it feel great to be back on top where we belong. We had the roster to do it. We had the coaches to do it. So, I mean, it was championship or bust from the beginning.
Yeah,
so, They did what they needed to do. They stood on everything they said they was going to do, and we got the trophy. So it's all good.
How connected are you still with that locker room and those players and on the team?
Not so much connected because them guys, they younger. But I'm still connected with some of the coaches still there, like Coach Johnson and just Coach Johnson. I think the only coach that's still.
Well, Coach Day?
Coach Day.
Yeah.
Coach Day was the quarterbacks coach when I was there, but just not as much as connected as with the players because they younger than me. But, I still watch the games every Saturday. I know everybody that's on the team and stuff like that.
Well, your name still ring out in Columbus, I'm sure. You ain't had to buy dinner in Columbus in a long time. Let me just say that.
Right. Matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that because when I went back down last year when they played Nebraska, they had a 10-year reunion of the 14 team. Right. Of course, he was playing ball at the time in Ottawa, so he couldn't make it, but they did honor at the 2014 team, and Coach Meyer was there, and they lifted Coach Meyer on the shoulders and everything like that. So that was good to see. That was good to see. Yeah.
Well, it's another thing I wanted to ask on that, man. I know watching your career in the CFL, I've noticed the celebration a little bit. I know what's going on, and I love it. I think it was creative, especially with your last name being Webb. Those who don't know, you got a scene interception here. He got the spider webs out, baby. I love it, man. Right. And then you also shout out your fraternity. You do it. Oh yeah. You get that?
It's the Bruhz too.
Yeah.
Bruhz is here. Right.
So Omega Psi Phi in the building again. But man, I enjoy your enthusiasm when you're out there, man. Again, I can't say enough. I look forward. I be on TSN looking for you. I'm on all of it. So. Man.
I should have been doing that my whole life.
Right. Yeah,
we was doing like the first day at camp, we were doing 101s, and I locked up one of our receivers, and I just started That's
right.
the first thing I did. So ever since then, I just was doing that the whole year.
That's big.
I feel like
And the
it's some,
CFL ran with it too.
I feel like there's some money there. Like what's I feel like it's a deal somewhere to be made with that. Is there a new Spider-Man movie coming out or something? We need to latch on to that.
After Captain America, we'll get D Webb
Yeah,
on Spider-Man.
You got to put the amazing. Yes, sir.
I was with some of the bros last night, and they were just talking about like that. Like they said, kids gonna start showing up to the game in Spider-Man masks.
Yeah, man.
What if they did that? Like that'd be lit.
That'd be dope.
lit, bro.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. So just getting back to a little bit of, about Ohio State. And I know, oftentimes when you get together with former players, I'm sure y'all talk about, or compare your team with this team, your players with the players that they have now. So where do you think, first of all, your team, the first national championship team in this era, and then the last one from this year, where do you think they rank in all-time great teams in Ohio State history?
I would say as far as talent wise, this team that just won it probably was the best talented team. But as far as like in the history, they'll probably be top 5.
Okay.
And I would say like my bad, the 2014 team was probably number 1. Because I would only say that just because the way we did it and we beat Michigan. Like I feel like you can't be the best team if they're gonna have an asterisk on the record because they didn't beat the team up north. So
wait. You mean to tell me that you're not gonna put this team, like the shot to them is that although they won a national championship, if they didn't beat Michigan, then that you can't rank them above your team.
It's just because it's always gonna have that because they lost to Michigan. They gonna always hang that over.
It's definitely the Michigan alum gonna say that.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely always. We hear that. I hear that now.
But the thing is, when you come to Ohio State, the 2 things you do is beat Michigan and win the national championship. So they accomplished the big goal, but they didn't do the other thing.
Maybe that's the bigger goal.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I've spoken to a couple of Ohio State guys, specifically my guy Mike Carson, and he refuses even to put on his Ohio State gear, even though they won a national championship. He appreciates it. But he said, he told me the other day, he said, man, it's just, that they didn't beat Michigan. He was a guy that he was 4-0 against Michigan and won a couple of Big Ten championships and then won a national championship, obviously. But it's still me. I'm repping. I don't care. I mean, I want him to beat Michigan, but the big picture is to win it all. But he's an Ohio State alum, so he feels different about it. So, and I respect that, but you still got to beat the team up here up north, man, I guess, to solidify everything.
The rivalry runs deep. And I think that oftentimes people underestimate it. Sometimes I even underestimate how deep the rivalry really is. And, part of that is, I'm sure when you get to Ohio State, like you're indoctrinated into, okay, what does this mean? Yeah. And you're going to be there for 3 years, 4 years, sometimes 5 years. By the time that you step on campus, what it means to beat Michigan.
Yeah, like it's everything. Like our whole program is built on beating Michigan. Like we doing workouts as soon as we step on campus, like Team Up North beat Michigan workouts in order to just brainwash us and just get us acclimated to the rivalry land. And yeah, like my dad said, like you don't beat Michigan, it's kind of like it's an asterisk. It's like a little dark cloud over the program. You feel me? Like even though we won a national championship, I still know Coach Day's still in the back of his mind, like he gotta beat these guys.
He still got to do that.
So I'm gonna have 2 questions for you. So how is that? So your freshman year, you go in, you coming from the Detroit area, and you get to Ohio State, and they, like you said, not necessarily brainwashed, but they're instilling in you, we have to beat them. And you like, man, I just can't, that's my town. How is that? I mean, how you balance that? You know what I'm saying? You're like,
I don't care. That had already been on my mind before I even stepped on campus. Because in my recruiting class, I was probably like, I think the first or second guy committed, like, cause I committed early, like going into like my junior year, I think. So I had already had that mindset out my head. I was just all Ohio State.
It was all Ohio State at that point.
And then my head coach was Coach Meyer, so he ain't played.
Yeah.
He wasn't losing to Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Okay, because I wondered that with like Woodson, Woodson came from Ohio, came to Michigan, and it's like he had to leave Ohio behind.
So did Desmond from Cleveland.
Okay, so they had to leave that stuff behind and then conform to the rivalry. So my other question to that is, so you in the Ohio State Michigan rivalry. I go to basketball. You got Duke, North Carolina. Go to football. Back to football. Auburn, Alabama. Where do you rank the Ohio State Michigan rivalry?
Number one.
Number one. I have nothing else.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's a deeper rivalry. I mean, it's been that one because think about all the times that those two teams have met and been like two of the best teams, top 5 teams in the country at the time. And then just the relationship between the state of Michigan and the state of Ohio. It all goes back to the Woody and Bo days.
Right.
I mean, the battle over Toledo. Like,
it all started with Toledo.
Yeah, like this is this runs deep. And I don't think that there is another rivalry in sports that even comes close to Michigan and Ohio State.
I think I heard a story, and it's well known. I think Woody was coming back through Michigan and the car ran out of gas. And they said, well, we're going to push the car to the Ohio border before I get some gas in the state of Michigan. Of course, they're a few miles away, but that's just how intense, the rivalry is. So, hey, man, it is what it is, man. It's Michigan, Ohio State, last Saturday in November. That's how it's always been.
That's how it is. So let's move on. Talk a little bit of NFL Combine soon and very soon.
Yeah, end of this month, early or March, something like that. Yeah,
within the next 2 weeks.
The next couple of weeks, man, we're gonna see guys getting ready and preparing themselves for the NFL Combine. And obviously, this is their opportunity to showcase their measurables to NFL teams, and hopefully get a job at the end of April for one of these teams. And so you've gone through that process. Just want to talk a little bit about what your combine was like.
It was long. It's a long 3-4 days that you out in Indianapolis. Day starting at 4 a.m. You getting drug tests, medical. You meeting with coaches all day. And then you finally get to go to the field and showcase what you can do. But yeah, the 2 or 3 days before that, you got to stay locked in because it's draining. It's long.
Mm-hmm. What was your mindset going in? I mean, you coming from Ohio State at the time. I mean, you were a national champion and playing for one of the best college teams in the country. What were you thinking about going in?
My mindset was going in just trying to impress every organization. You going there, you kind of nervous, but you got to just keep the main thing. The main thing, you going there, every team is going to be there. You're going to be meeting with every team. Mm-hmm. You're going to be meeting head coaches, GMs for your favorite teams that you grew up watching and stuff like that. So, but your main mindset is just going there trying to win over an organization that you try to prove throughout your interview process that you just want a team to take a chance on you, that a team that can believe in you and a team that's willing to pick you in order for hopes to them to improve their team. So yeah, it's just a job. It's like a job interview.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So look, outside of your regular work, preparing, you working out, doing your regular staying in shape, what have you, do guys specifically prepare for the drills that are at hand? Yeah. So you working out throughout the season and you preparing to do the jump test. And do you guys work on that beforehand or do you just...
No, you work on that beforehand. That's majority of the things you work on. Like,
is what they're going to do
like
in the
track
drill?
star because you working on 40 starts and you working on like the agility drills and stuff like that. Yeah. But then mainly after the combine, that's when you get to working on football. You feel me?
Okay.
So before the combine, you working on 40 starts. You working on shuttle drill, you working on 3-cone drill and stuff like that. And then afterwards, after your workout, then that's when you start working on football and stuff like that.
Okay.
There are arguments on both sides of this, right? There are people who, the analytics guys will say, those measurables at combines and all that, like that stuff matters. Like guys will get, change draft position, based on their 40 time, based on their shuttle drill time, based on their, broad jump, based on their vertical leap, like all of it, your wingspan, like all this stuff. Analytics guys eat this stuff up. Mm-hmm. Then there are guys on the other side of the coin who say, this is cool, but like this doesn't tell whether you can play football and make plays or not. Right. So where do you stand on that issue?
I mean, like, it's good to get the measurables and stuff like that. It's good to run a fast 40 and jump a long broad jump, but I feel like as a scout, it's really up to their job to know who's like football guys who can go on the field no matter what and still produce on the field. Like the measurables, those all are good things and they're great to do at the combine. And trust me, like, yeah, you run a fast 40, you jump high, it is gonna boost your draft stock. Like it is beneficial, but it doesn't really tell the full story of how you is as a football player.
Right.
Like, when you step in between the lines, because some dudes is track guys. Some dudes gonna run a 4.3, but some dudes is got football speed. Like Jerry Rice, he ain't run. What he run like?
Jerry was
4.5?
4.6.
Yeah, but he never seen him get caught.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah.
A lot of guys got football, or say they got football speed, but the measurements don't tell the full story every time.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that, because you had guys, some of the fastest guys that ever ran the 40 flamed out in the NFL in a couple of years, because they didn't have the skill set. They had the speed, but they didn't have the skill set at the position that they were playing. So, football is a game where you got to be mentally and physically tough. And sometimes the measurables, you throw that out the window. If I got a gamer, give me this guy, because I know I'm gonna get the most out of him, on the football field. When the whistle blow, it's time to go. So, it's a crapshoot. Shedeur Sanders didn't even get invited to the combine.
Shiloh.
He didn't get invited to the combine. So, and he's gonna get an opportunity, and he might be a solid pro. You had guys like Cooper Kupp, who was I want to say the 1AA guy coming out of college. He ended up being one of the best receivers in pro football over the last 7 to 8 years. So, hey man, you just got to go out there and play.
Yeah, but let's dissect that a little bit. Like, so you and Shiloh play the same position.
Yeah,
both safeties. What do you think he needs to do to get himself to be sort of attractive to an NFL team? I mean, he's not going to have a combine. He'll probably have a pro day. Mm-hmm. So what do you think he needs to show in his pro day, in his interview, that can get a team interested?
Probably show him just moving around on the field, like attacking the ball. Probably a fast 40 from him would boost his draft stock, because a lot of people know him as kind of like a box safety or a hard-hitting safety. So when he go out and do his drills, how fluid his hips are, how fast he can get in and out of his break, it's going to benefit him at his pro day, because I don't really know about the reports and stuff, but I know he did like one of the Senior Bowls or the Shrine Game. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he did in it, but the fact that he's just not going to have a combine is not going to showcase. He's not going to be showcased to the world, like, for the picture they already have painted for him.
Right.
So his pro day going to be very important.
How much do you think it'll matter that, he comes from a football family?
Man.
Because when the lights come on, like, I guess it's different. He's played under this spotlight all his life. Yeah. Being his father being Deion Sanders. And so, from Jackson State to Colorado, the lights were extremely bright for him. And the spotlight was on him. Every little move he made. So, like, I feel like going into an NFL draft, if I'm a team 4th, 5th, 6th round, 7th round, I'm looking at a kid who the light's not going to be too big for him. Yeah. The stage is not going to be too large for him. And he can perform under pressure. Yeah. So do you think any of that will matter?
I think like the light's not going to be too bright for him. Like you said, he's Deion Sanders' son. So he didn't been under every spotlight, camera in his face. He just need to go out there and just prove why a team should take a
that's
chance
what I was
on
about
him.
to say. He just need to go out there and play, man.
Yeah.
Go out there and make plays and prove people wrong. And he should have a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That's his number one motivation right there. Oh, I didn't get invited to the combine? Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So you show out at your pro day. Mm-hmm. I know Ohio State has one of the biggest pro days. I mean, every team in the NFL is at Ohio State pro day. Since we're talking about combine, when Webb went through his combine, he ran a decent time. He pulled his hammy, so he couldn't finish the combine. Mm-hmm. But by him being in the situation at Ohio State, everybody came to Ohio State prior to him coming there anywhere because you had Joey Bosa, Zeke, all those guys already had been through their pro day. So it was a big pro day. So to Shiloh, just show out at your pro day, man, and Ohio State was known for having other universities, particularly in Ohio, smaller schools, have guys who didn't get invited to the combine. They would invite him to Ohio State pro day so you can get a look. Yeah. Hey man, that pro day, that's real big for Shiloh. That'll be real big for him.
And then like they got Shador and Travis, they top 5 picks, so every team gonna be at his pro day.
Right, exactly.
And then he a big name also, the Deion Sanders' son, so he know the lights and eyes gonna be on him, so it's just up to him to go out there and perform.
So everybody goes through the same drills, each position?
DB drills. Like all the DBs are gonna do the same drills. And then afterwards, like an individual coach might pull you to the side and want to see you like individually. Mm-hmm. Or he might get a group of guys that he want to see within the same position that they want to see individually and put you through like a personal workout and stuff like that.
Right there at the combine.
Yeah.
Okay. I always thought it was unfair to offensive linemen to run the 40. Mm-hmm. You're never gonna run 40 yards down the field, man. I just always thought it was unfair.
Some linemen, they run low fives.
Let me tell you something. If I'm Flozell Adams, I'm going 10 yards up the field and that's it. You better run behind me and go. I'm not going no further, man.
Yeah, that is true.
I want to see how athletic a guy is, though. I want to see if you can, for an offensive lineman, you got to be able to...
Your boy, Eric Allen.
You got to be able to pull.
Eric Allen running down the field for them Cowboys, making blocks 30 yards down the field.
Okay. Sewell, you got to be... Penei Sewell. You got to be able to pull and block.
Catch passes.
Yeah, all that.
If you're the Lions offense.
10 yards, baby. I ain't going more than 10 yards.
So who are some of the other guys? I mean, we talked about Shiloh Sanders. Who are some of the guys, maybe locally, Michigan State, that we should be looking out for who've been invited to the combine that we should kind of keep an eye on?
Will Johnson. So
Will Johnson.
Well, he had a long time to prepare for this.
Yeah. You said we'll be preparing for the combine since week 6.
Mid-season.
Right.
I'm expecting him to do great.
But guys like Will, and he'll probably just maybe run. I don't even know. He already guaranteed a top 10 pick. He penciled in the top 10. So guys like him, Travis, they might not even perform.
So
at the combine.
So what's the determining factor, right? So who makes that decision on what you do and what you don't do?
That's a great question.
When is that decision made, and what are the factors that go into, okay, I'm going to do this event but not do other events?
That's a great question.
I've been invited but I'm not going to run. I'm going to run but I'm not going to do bench press. What goes into those decisions?
Yeah, that's between you, like your agent and your trainer, just from the feedback that your team is getting. But like I remember just because they wake you up early in the morning to get ready for the combine. So they ask you, they're gonna ask everybody in the hotel lobby who's not running the 40, who's not doing broad jump, who's not doing certain drills that you need to do during the combine. So it's just individual based, how you feel. And Will Johnson, he'll probably run the 40 at the combine just so he can get it over with and just show the world how fast he is. But even if he don't, he said he don't want to run it, he's gonna have everybody at his pro day anyway. Yeah. So he can just run it at his pro day if he don't feel comfortable.
So why would a guy run it at his pro day but not run it at the combine?
It just depends on how you feeling. Like if you don't feel like you gonna run a fast time, or if you know that, or let's just say Will Johnson, for example, he knows that every coach, or his team probably already know which teams are most interested in him and things like that. So when he meets with these teams, they gonna ask him, is he gonna run at the combine or not, or they want to see him run at the combine. If they say they don't care, they will see you run at the pro day. You can just run at your pro day and it'll be the same thing.
And I think another advantage of running at your pro day is you're at home. I think it's still all electronic, but it's Michigan electronics.
You might get the benefit of
you know what I'm saying? And I would venture to say we'll probably run in the 4.4s, maybe low 4.5, but definitely in the 4.4s, so like he has more firsthand knowledge than us, obviously, but it's that home field advantage.
Yeah.
Home field advantage.
Just waking up knowing the field,
knowing the personnel, all of that.
Your coach is on the clock. Your teammates are around, so there's a level of comfortability there that I think could make kids feel a whole lot more comfortable in that.
Yeah.
Well, our listeners are going to tune in a couple weeks and check out this combine. Hopefully, we see some great athletes out there, and our hometown Lions can pick some players to help us get to a Super Bowl.
Myles Garrett. You don't have to pick him. You just need to trade for him. Right, you don't need to combine for that.
He's ready right now.
Or Max Crosby. Somebody like that. Yeah.
All right, well let's pivot a little bit to some Michigan State basketball. So they played last night. Michigan State put the smackdown on Michigan at Michigan 75-62. Is that still a rivalry? Like is that does it have the same luster as when they hit the gridiron anymore, or is it are people even paying attention to what happens in a random basketball game on a Saturday afternoon in February?
I don't think it got the same luster as of right now.
I agree.
Not right now. It doesn't. It just I don't know. You need a coach. Juwan Howard, swing. You need him back. Swing on somebody or something, man. It's just it's laid back.
What'd you say? Swing on somebody.
But
and
no,
to your point, the coach, what's his name? Dusty May.
May.
I never heard of the guy until they hired him. It's like, okay, you got the legendary Tom Izzo over there. He outlasted everybody on the U of M side from when they won the national championship to Tommy. What was my man named? The brother from Duke.
Tommy
Amaker, Ellerby. Izzo. But still, you knew who they were.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this or came back to it the last two shows. We just don't know who they are in college basketball. Some of the coaches, Dusty May, okay. But now Michigan does have a great record. Michigan State, great record. But to your point, I don't even know if that's a rivalry. I remember it used to be Michigan State, Michigan, Illinois, back in the day, but no rivalries,
so
man.
The coach from Michigan got some money, too. He just didn't get extended.
Yeah, he got extended. Yeah.
So he's going to be around. So we're going to have to see how this...
And no Detroit players.
No Detroit
players on the roster.
That could really be what's deterring this rivalry from being what it should be. Because there's no connection.
Yeah. Well, Michigan is the only ones that weren't in a rivalry game. Michigan State played like it was a rivalry game.
But they coach been in it, though.
And that was his first one, May. That was his first game.
And somebody forgot to tell Dusty May that Michigan State was coming.
Right.
Because they completely just dismantled Michigan last night. They out-rebounded them. They're way more physical. Those guys were playing as if they were playing for something. And when you're in games like that, Michigan State, rivalry games like that, there's another level that you got to play at to ensure that you walk away from there with a victory. And when I look up and down that Michigan State roster, although there are really not a whole lot of ties to the city of Detroit or the state of Michigan, you do have some guys. Jay Nakins, who's from Farmington, played like he was in a rivalry game. Jace Richardson, whose father played at Michigan State. Yeah. Jason Richardson from Flint.
So you got it's a bloodline Flint, there. It's a bloodline there.
There's a bloodline there. So I'm sure he's seen it and shared with him, what it's like being in games like that. And so shout out to Michigan State. I mean, for really putting it on Michigan in a way that reminded you of old school Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
They play again coming down was another week or so.
Yeah,
they got a game. So we'll see if this game did anything for Michigan at all. And if they're going to turn it around and make this a rivalry, they're going to have to come back strong against Michigan State. They're going to have to.
Yeah, they have to. 662 wins for Izzo.
Man, that's a bunch of wins.
Man.
You know who else has a lot of wins too that I meant to give him a big shout out over there? Oakland. Coach Campy, man.
Yeah.
He top 10 all time. And nationally.
Really?
Yeah, man. He been there, of course, he been there about 40 years, but you got to get a man his credit, man.
And a whole lot of coaches.
And a small program.
And a small program, but it's not a whole lot of coaches still around like that.
Right, right.
And, we've had conversations about Izzo and where we think Izzo ranks amongst the all-time coaches, all-time great coaches. And, with the 663 wins, how impressive that is. His time at Michigan, Michigan State over 30 some odd years at that program. All the great players that he's coached, from the Mateen Cleaves to the Jason Richardsons, all those guys. I mean, fantastic players. Has gotten guys into the NBA. Did a great job of recruiting, but only one.
He needs
one natty.
He needs another.
How many national championships?
One.
And he. With that being said. You can't put him in there with former coach from North Carolina,
Roy
Williams,
Coach
Jay Wright. Those guys Coach got 2+.
Almost. Hurley. I mean,
right.
He don't have the wins,
but he got the chips. He got the chips. And I've been one, and although I didn't attend Michigan State, I love Coach Izzo. I met him a few times, just by him coming up to UAD over the years. Every time we get a new coach, he seemed to be at the press conference. When Davis got hired, and now we got Coach Montgomery over there, who's trying to build a program back up. But it's like, I don't know, man. When do you let it go? When do you give all his assistants have gone on to get head coaching jobs, but nobody has taken over Michigan State.
But don't you think, he's still around because he hadn't won another one? He wants to win another one?
He wants
How many did Jim Boeheim win? 1, 2? And I don't know if he was forced out or whatever, but he's out. He's gone.
So Boeheim won one with Carmelo.
He didn't.
And he lost one with Coleman.
He lost one with DC.
Yeah. Now, Izzo has been in what?
2? A number of times
in the Final Four.
He's got.
How many times has he been in the championship?
At least 2 other times. I think so. They lost to
Carolina
1 year with that team with Corey Lucius and all.
So he's been in at least
He's been in it. He's
2
been
or
in
3 championship games.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think sooner or later you got to give another guy opportunity to turn that program. I'm not gonna say turn it around, but they just might need a new voice, man, some new blood.
Well, the guy's 70 years old, man, 600 some wins. How much longer do you think he has to go?
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about college basketball, but it seemed like in the culture of college basketball, like making it to the Final Four is considered like a successful season.
And he does that.
It is.
Yeah.
He's doing that every 4 years. He's doing that.
Right. It was a time that if you went to Michigan State, you were guaranteed to go into a Final Four if you stayed there 4 years.
If you stayed 4 years, you was going to make a Final Four. He continues to reinvent himself. And although you missed this era of NIL and this transfer portal era.
No, he get a check.
Man,
it ain't like what they get, but he get a smidget.
Yeah, man. This
A
is
residual.
Oh yeah, residuals. Right.
But it's got to be tough to like build teams in this kind of environment, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it look like recruiting is different now because you got to keep the kids for the whole 4 years. Like, especially like, I feel bad for like small team or smaller schools because you can develop a kid for 2 years and he have a good team, and then a big like Ohio State, Michigan are coming, offer him an NIL and just take them.
Yeah, and they gone.
And they gone. Yeah.
They gone. What do you? I mean, so like, I got to give it to Izzo. To be able to do what he's doing in this era of transfers and NIL money and kind of do it the way he's traditionally done it. I mean, when I watched them play the other day, you can tell like some of the systematic things that he's accustomed to doing, the sets that he runs and like, really getting, I saw more pick and roll from Michigan State than I think I've ever saw from Michigan State ever, right? So he's changed some things and sort of adapted to this new way of playing, but he's always shot the three and he's always rebounded the heck out of the basketball. But he's been able to do it and keep guys. He's got a handful of kids who's been on this roster for 3 years or 4 years who are main guys. When you look at that Michigan roster, man, every one of them guys is new.
Well, let me ask you this. Are the Michigan State guys pros?
No.
That's why you can keep them.
No, they're not.
You get you a couple of guys, 1 or 2 guys, that's one and done. So he's, and once again, we haven't really touched on basketball recruiting, particularly here in the state of Michigan. But I don't see any one and done guys on his roster for him to have an argument or have a fight to say, hey, kid, you need to stay.
But it's even beyond the one and done. You got the portal. So if a guy comes in, doesn't play that much, he can get up and leave. Like he's been able to he's had a couple, like Pierre left, right? Pierre left a couple years ago, probably into a better situation at Butler. Probably a place he probably should have picked coming out of college.
Right.
I mean, coming out of high school, cater more to his ability and the way he likes to play the game. But for the most part, it's the same roster Izzo has. I mean, it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do. So now, granted, to your point, these aren't one and done guys, caliber guys.
Right.
These are, that second tier, getting some guys to play a little bit better than getting some guys who probably aren't right there, probably on that cusp, and keeping them and being successful.
Well, let me ask you this, and you do your homework on it more than I do. Bates, wasn't Michigan State his top option
Coming out of high school
was his game suited for Izzo's
absolutely
style of play?
Oh, on the offensive end?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now,
all
where
right.
he would have struggled, same place a lot of freshmen struggle are going to be on the defensive
side
end.
of the ball. Yeah.
Izzo would have required him to play defense and play a defense in a way that, it's going to get him ready for the next level.
Right.
But offensively, that length, being able to shoot the three, being able to get to the cup, can post you sometimes.
So Izzo will let you play your game. Well, within the boundaries.
Within the confines of the system,
right?
That he has set forth, and like I said, before, I've seen him sort of, adjust to the new way of playing. A lot of pick and roll, a lot of 1-on-1. I've seen him do that more last night than I've seen him doing this program for a long time.
Okay.
So let's get to a little bit of high school. I want to really get your take. We talk about it a lot on this show, particularly in PSL football. It's simply been King and Cass.
Yeah.
Flip-flopping every year. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I just think the other schools they're not getting the kids or may not be getting the talent to compete with King and Cass. I know when I was coming up, it was still the same. You feel me? That was 10 years ago. So I don't know if they're not getting the coaches, or I'm not saying the coaches, but if they're getting just the top kids from PAL and the different little leagues that's around the city to go to PSL schools so for they could be able to compete. But they do need to they do need to find like another 2 schools that's gonna be able to come there and compete because every year is going, gonna play in the city championship.
City championship.
Yeah.
So how much? What's a Cass and King roster? How many kids on average? How many kids on that roster?
That's D1 or
No. Just kids. Kids on the team. What's the roster? What's the roster like? 40 kids?
Yeah, I was about to say like 40, 50.
40, I would say 40, 50.
So I think that's the disparity with Cass and King.
Mm-hmm.
You got 40 and 50 there. I go down.
You go to Northwestern.
You got 28.
If that,
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot of it. I think that's a lot of it too.
And then by us shrinking as a school district, he can speak to that more so than anything else. We have schools that's closed, McKenzie closed, Chassis closed, Central closed. Is Central closed?
Central's open.
Oh, Central's open. Okay. Yeah. But we've lost a lot of schools over the years. So talent goes either Cass, King, charter schools, Harper Woods, Coach Oden out there doing a great job with Harper Woods. So the talent level, and then Renaissance at one time was a pretty good football school too.
They were.
They were getting, academically and football wise, they were competing against the Cass and the Kings of the world. So I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah. No more Crockett.
Crockett.
You know,
Right.
they were one of those that upper tier.
Yeah.
Who would compete with Cass and King on any given year. But I think one of the things that we haven't touched on a lot is, when I was in high school in the early 90s, Detroit had a 1.5 million residents.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With 600,000.
Wow. Damn.
There's the population shrinks. You get more families moving outside the city into the suburban areas or leaving the state altogether. They don't just pack up and leave the kids behind.
Right.
They take the kids with them. So, there's your kids, there's your talent. That's why you got 28 at Northwestern or some of the smaller schools. And that's why you got 50 at Cass and King, because those are places that have traditionally had quality programs, quality academics, and they're schools that people seek after when looking.
And it wasn't no IMGs in the 90s.
No, it wasn't no IMG.
You wasn't leaving the state to play football and basketball. For one, your parents wasn't gonna let you.
No, you didn't.
No, my baby not going to Florida.
No, you didn't have to worry about.
You didn't have to worry about that.
Prep schools. I mean, all that kind of. You didn't. That just wasn't a concern. It was high school. It was traditional high school, and it was a city high school.
Yeah,
typically that people are going.
It was like, now you saying like how kids going to IMG, like probably back in the day, like kids probably didn't even leave their neighborhood. So all the kids that probably played for like the Steelers probably went to McKenzie.
Yep.
All the kids that played for the Giants, like East Side teams, they probably went to like Osborne or whatever East Side school that was in their neighborhood. So not all the kids, they go to King or Cass.
No matter
they could
where
be
they
from
stay.
the west side, they going to King, or they could be from the east side. You feel me?
I think it was one school, I want to say Hargraves Academy. I think Eddie George went there, like a military school.
Yeah.
And I think they did basketball also. We had a kid back in the day.
Jordan Crawford went there from here.
Right. Jordan Crawford.
Hargrave, yeah.
Right, yeah. So, but now you have IMG. You have maybe 2 or 3 other programs just like that across the country. And Akoff. He left the city.
Mm-hmm.
Won a state championship at Cass.
Yeah.
One of our other frat brothers, Alton, his son, went to IMG to play football.
Yeah.
And he got a bunch of offers. And I think he probably could have got the same offers here.
Maybe
he was just as talented.
Yeah, maybe.
But once again, he would have been probably at Cass or King.
Yeah.
Or he might have been out there with Coach Oden. But yeah.
I mean, look, my son left the west side to go to the east side to go to King.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for 2 reasons. One, it was a great school academically, but 2, great coach and great program.
That's it. Yeah.
And if you want your kid to have an opportunity to compete and play quality football, basketball, athletics, whatever it is, you want to put them in an environment where that talent is going to be nurtured in a way that they can be successful. So you get what you get. You get what you get.
And we all, as parents, we want free. We was on the Amistad. We want free.
And no better way to end this episode than we want free.
Yeah.
It's been another episode of Brown Couch Bruhz.
Man,
Make sure
Brown
you
Couch.
like, subscribe, share this episode. Hit that the symbol on our YouTube. Subscribe to our episode. Share, like, and tune in.
It's all
next
free,
week.
man. All you gotta do is push the button.
Tune in next week to another episode.
Brown Couch Bruhz, we out of here.
We out of here. Peace.
Right. Good luck.